Hi, I am Heather Burrell. I'm from the Education Department, and more specifically, I'm actually the American Heart Association Training Center Coordinator here for Madison Memorial Hospital. So today I'm going to talk to you specifically about hands-only CPR. As a reminder, here at the hospital, we do hands-only CPR according to policy. We do not perform any mouth-to-mouth ventilations. And so until appropriate equipment arrives, even if you know how to do those things, our policy is we do not do mouth-to-mouth. So we're going to go over some more detailed information. The first, I want to show you this video. I want you, again, just to observe what's happening. And if you haven't noticed, you'll notice that in the upper right-hand corner, there's actually a student that has collapsed. And specifically now, I want you to notice the interactions of the other students. You can see that there are a group of people towards the top of the screen that obviously their instinct said there's a problem, yet they're just kind of standing and watching. Others are kind of hovering around, and here you actually see the teacher in the very teacher type style say, "Everybody get running, do your laps." And he comes over and he checks the person, and pretty soon you're going to see exactly how serious of a situation this happened to be. All right, so somebody has been called to go call 911, and now you can see the students have left and they are actually doing CPR on this person. So I wanted to present that video so that you had an idea of what can happen, what sudden cardiac arrest can look like. And unfortunately, many people would look at that and go, "I can't believe nobody did anything. They just stood there and watched." Unfortunately, that's actually very common. There is a fear that people don't want to look stupid. They don't want to say, "Hey, there's a problem," and have it be nothing. Or they're expecting that somebody else with more training is going to step up and notice that there's a problem. So I want you all to know that you have the instinct already inside of you to know that there's a problem. And if you do see that there's a problem, I want you to react and get involved and get some help for that. The next video I'm going to show, I just would say, I'm going to show you a video about Hank Gathers. And Hank Gathers played basketball with another player by the name of Shaquille O'Neal. They played college basketball together. And I would like to show you this video of Hank Gathers. So I'm going to play that now. So this is an example of Hank Gathers. They're playing basketball. Everything is going wonderful. You're actually going to see a shot here where they pass the ball. This gentleman does a slam dunk. The guy that did the slam dunk, that's actually Hank Gathers. They're going to show another video of a different angle. Here it is again. Awesome game. Looks like everything is going well. And the whistle blows by one of the officials real quick right here. And I want you to watch the events that take place. So you can see that he has collapsed on the floor. And already the instinct, your inner instinct goes, "Ooh, that's not normal." We don't usually see a college athlete collapse on the ground like that. His team and his coaches and the others didn't know what to do either. But you'll notice here, seizure-like activity is very common in a sudden cardiac arrest. You saw that kind of activity in there. If you'll notice his breathing, agonal breaths are a very common sign of cardiac arrest. And you can see that he is not breathing normally. These are agonal breaths. And you see people mulling around. The coaching staff is just watching. This is somebody that's come out of the stands, and you're actually going to see some other family members that were in the stands that are going to start coming out. And in the background, you're going to notice the emergency crew is going to be coming in very soon. But obviously, they have not done this before. They're coming in with the gurney, but they actually put the gurney upside down. So obviously, they've never practiced what they needed to do in this situation. Everybody kind of grabs for a part to try to put him up on the gurney. They've now realized that the gurney is in the wrong position. And Actually, in the background, very soon, you're going to see a man come through carrying like a beige-colored briefcase. There he is, right there. So everybody kind of grabs apart. They're going to put him up on the gurney. And again, we're talking cardiac arrest. So statistically, for every minute that we go without chest compressions and high-quality CPR, it's a 10% decrease in the chance of survival. I want you to think about how much time has been ticking by. Now, they are walking him off, and as you notice on that right-hand side, there's the gentleman carrying the briefcase. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop the video there. And I want you just to realize that that briefcase was actually one of the first available AEDs. The man that brought that out, his instructions had been, hey, if there's ever an emergency, your job is to bring this out. And that's exactly what he did. So if we don't practice like we're going to play, these kind of things happen. And so that AED was available, but they didn't really know what to do and how to use it. He was only told to bring it out, which he did, and then walked back off. An additional 10 minutes in the locker room goes by before someone finally decides to start CPR. Unfortunately, because of the lack of CPR and other circumstances, that is the last game that Hank Gathers played. Hank Gathers died on the basketball court that day. So I bring this up to your attention here at Madison because we need you to be the eyes and ears everywhere to watch and see if you see a problem. If you see something, if you see somebody suddenly collapse, they're walking down the hallway and they just tip over and collapse, right there you know we've got a problem. Now, depending on your level of training, some of you may have more advanced training of CPR, some may not. But again, that instinct of, that's not normal. We don't see somebody timber over in the hallway. Or if you walk in to use the restroom and there's legs sticking out from underneath one of the stalls, you already know with your instincts that we've got a problem. So we want you to know that here at Madison, we expect you to be those eyes and ears, and you have the authority to make some decisions about getting some help there. So here at the hospital, different areas of the hospital may have code blue buttons or other ways to call a code. In your areas, you'll be trained on those if that's something that's within your area. However, if you're not in an area that has a code blue button, or you're in an area that you're not sure how to do that, here at the hospital, we do have a policy for how to activate our code system. And if you have a code blue button, I want you to hit that code blue button. Don't hesitate to get some help coming. I would much rather you call a code and it be something that's fine than wish we would have called it just a few minutes before. So if you're here at the hospital, working within the walls of the actual hospital on 450 East Main, our protocol is to contact the code system overhead if you don't already have a code button. And for that, all you do is pick up any of our phones and you dial 3333, and then your voice will go over the overhead page. And all I want you to do is say code blue and then state the location. So for example, if this was in the main foyer, main lobby, I would say code blue, main lobby, code blue, main lobby, code blue, main lobby. And that's going to activate our code team to start coming to help you. If you are at any of our off-site locations, so you're at Seasons, you're at Rigby, you're at the business office, any of their off-site locations, the process for that is just to call 911. 911 can get there a lot faster, and so that's what we want you to do, is get some help officially coming. And then in the meantime, we're going to talk about CPR and what that is. Specifically, we are going to do compression-only CPR until appropriate equipment arrives and additional trained staff come. So if in doubt, I want you to do compression-only CPR. And I want you to watch this video now that we're going to show you what CPR is, what it looks like, and why we perform it the way that we do.
Our heart is an amazing organ. It works hard for us every second of every day, delivering blood and oxygen to every cell in our body. But when sudden cardiac arrest strikes, our heart suddenly and unexpectedly stops beating effectively and blood flow stops. Without any intervention, the brain, vital organs, and our heart will begin to die. Beginning CPR is the person's only chance of survival. brain damage will start to set in within 4 minutes, and after 10 minutes, brain damage becomes irreversible. The power to save a life is truly in your hands. Performing CPR accomplishes 2 critical things. 1, compressions move oxygenated blood to the brain to keep the brain alive. And 2, compressions keep blood and oxygen moving to the heart muscle itself, so that it has the best chance of resuming a normal electrical rhythm after a shock is delivered. As you begin compressions, you are creating an artificial pump and doing the work of the heart manually. With each good, effective compression, you are building up pressure in the system, which will move blood around the heart and up to the brain. It does take time to get the blood moving with CPR, so it is very important to push hard and push fast to build the pressure up, which keeps blood going to the brain. Pushing down at least 2 inches allows for the heart to be squeezed and blood to move out. Pushing at a rate of 100 to 120 compressions per minute is necessary to keep blood pumping. Let's see what happens when we take our hands off the chest. Blood stops moving to the brain. It is for this reason that if you are taking your hands off the chest to deliver breaths or switching roles, it is critical to minimize time off the chest. Watch what happens when we don't push deep enough. Blood does not reach the brain. The same is true if we do not push fast enough. Watch what happens when we push too fast. The heart does not have time to refill with blood, therefore not enough blood gets pumped out. Watch what happens when we don't allow the body to decompress and allow the chest to fully recoil. The heart does not have a chance to refill with blood, therefore no blood gets pumped out. So remember, the key purpose of delivering compressions is to keep oxygenated blood moving within the heart and up to the brain to keep the brain alive. We need to push hard and push fast in the center of the chest. If ribs break, that's okay. What's not okay is allowing the brain to die from a lack of oxygen. So remember, you are their only hope. Do the best you can, and don't give up until medical help arrives or an AED is present. You can do it.
Okay, so I just showed you a video of what it looks like to perform CPR, and now specifically I want to talk to you about hands-only CPR. The American Heart Association has an official video for what they recommend for that, and so I'm going to play that video for you now.
If you see a teen or adult suddenly collapse, it is important to act fast. Helping to save a life is easier than you might think. Just start hands-only CPR. The first step is to ask someone to call 911 and to get an AED, or call 911 yourself and put your phone on speaker mode so the operator can assist you. Then get directly over the victim. Put the heel of one hand in the center of the chest and put your other hand on top of the first. Then push hard and fast in the center of the chest until help arrives. It's important to push giving 100 to 120 compressions per minute, which is about the same tempo as the song Stayin' Alive, or the rate of music you're listening to right now. Let's hope you never have to use hands-only CPR. But know that CPR combined with using an AED provides the best chance of saving a life. If possible, use an AED every time you provide CPR. Again, if you see a teen or adult suddenly collapse, don't be afraid to start hands-only CPR. Remember, call 911 and ask someone to get an AED. Then push hard and fast in the center of the chest until the AED and help arrives. Your actions can help save a life.
Okay, so in that video, we saw hands-only CPR. And again, if you have been trained in how to check responsiveness, how to check for breathing, how to check a pulse, absolutely feel free to do that. If you get flustered or you've never been trained before, hands-only CPR is completely appropriate. And as you saw in that video, all you're going to do is identify that we've got a problem, call for emergency services, that's going to be calling for a code or calling 911, and then all you have to do is push hard and fast in the center of the chest. So the beat of Bee Gees' Staying Alive, that's a great example of a song that you can do. Queen's Another One Bites the Dust is another great example. And all you do is just put your hands in the center of the chest, lower half of the breastbone, and you push hard and fast and sing Staying Alive if that's helpful to you. And you just continue to do that. Solid, don't stop. And then we continue to do that until more advanced people come. I often hear, well, how do I know if I'm doing the right thing? What if they don't need it? If you're doing compressions on someone and you're pushing hard and you're pushing fast and they don't stop you, rest assured that you are making the right decision. Somebody who is healthy and does not need CPR will probably reach their hands up, act like they're in pain, and if they do that, go ahead and stop. But if there's no indication that they're uncomfortable with what you're doing, rest assured you've made the right decision. The next extremely important thing that we need to do is be able to get an AED. We have AEDs across all of the campuses as well as throughout the whole hospital. AEDs are an amazing piece of equipment that you do not have to have advanced training to use. If you know how to turn it on and follow instructions, that is all that you need to know. But if you're ever curious what the AED does and how it works, I'm going to show you this video now of that very thing.
This video is intended to help you understand how an AED works. The ECG strip you are going to see is from Steve's actual save, a real person who is alive today because of an AED and some good Samaritans who took action. Once you turn on an AED, the machine will begin to speak to you. Follow the voice prompts. Once the pads have been placed, the AED will instruct you to stand clear and to not touch the patient while it does an ECG of the heart. The AED is designed to determine if the heart is in a normal rhythm or if it needs to be shocked. In this case, the heart is in ventricular fibrillation, the most common rhythm when someone goes into sudden cardiac arrest. Notice how the heart is not beating effectively. It has electrical activity, but it is uncoordinated. The heart looks like it is shaking like a bowl of jelly. When in this rhythm, you can see the heart is not effectively pumping any blood out. This rhythm is deadly and has to be stopped. When the AED reads a shockable rhythm, the AED will either instruct you to press the shock button, or some AEDs are automatic and will automatically shock the person. At this point, no one should be touching the patient. The AED will send an electrical current through the heart and back again. The purpose of this shock is to stop the heart completely for a very short period of time from this uncoordinated rhythm and give it time to reset. Notice how the shock stopped all the electrical activity in Steve's heart for a brief period. Seconds after this shock, our own SA node, the pacemaker of our heart, will try to regain control of the heart and tell the rest of the heart when to squeeze. It can take up to 2 minutes for the heart to reorganize itself electrically after a shock, before it will function again and effectively pump blood to the brain. This is why you will be instructed to begin CPR immediately after the shock. Your job is to push hard and fast in the center of the chest in order to manually pump blood to the brain, to keep the brain alive. Your compressions will not interfere with the heart trying to reorganize itself electrically, so do not worry about that. After 2 minutes, the AED will instruct you to stop CPR. It will reanalyze the heart and advise whether another shock is needed. Always listen to the machine and follow the voice prompts. In Steve's case, the ECG picked up a healthy rhythm and therefore a second shock was not advised. In Steve's case, only 1 shock was required to bring him back to life. Steve's heart continues to beat and he is alive and with us today.
Okay, so we just watched a video about how an AED works. Now, specifically, I want to show you how the equipment that we have here looks so that you're completely comfortable with it if you ever need to use it. The brand of AED that we use here at the hospital is called a Zoll. And it may look different than some that you may have seen. And so I'm going to show you this instructional video of exactly what the AED looks like, what comes in the kit, and how we use the equipment that we specifically have here. So I'm going to play that now.
using the Z-AED Plus in a rescue. Cardiac arrest is a leading cause of death worldwide, and it can happen to anyone, anywhere, at any
Anyone see
age.
what happened? Michael, are you okay? Are you okay? You call emergency services, you get the AED. Hurry, I'm gonna start CPR.
Call emergency services, have someone retrieve the AED, and begin CPR immediately.
Yes, please send help.
Placement of the AED should allow for retrieval in 3 to 4 minutes.
Yes, we have an AED and we've begun CPR.
Place the AED next to the victim's shoulder. The AED provides both voice and text prompts, as well as graphic icons. Text prompts can be helpful in noisy environments, and icons are useful in multilingual environments.
Adult pads. Stay calm. Check responsiveness. Call for help.
All clothing must be removed from the victim's chest. Excessive chest hair and moisture should also be removed if present. The pad package includes scissors, razor, and other items to help prepare the victim for proper application of the pads. Completely expose the victim's bare chest. When using the scissors, always begin at the top of the shirt, cutting downward. Zoll's one-piece CPR-D pads are designed for fast and accurate placement. Peel and place design helps prevent pad damage and mishandling. The CPR-D pads have a CPR sensor built in that provides feedback to the rescuer on CPR compression quality. The landmark also supports proper CPR hand placement.
Don't touch patient. Analyzing.
Do not touch the patient in order to prevent interference with the heart rhythm analysis. The AED Plus analyzes the victim's heart rhythm to determine if a shock is needed. AEDs are safe and will not shock a victim with a normal heart rhythm.
No shock advised.
While only about 50% of cardiac arrest victims
Start
will require a
CPR.
shock from an AED on the first analysis, nearly 100% of victims will benefit from high-quality CPR. High-quality CPR helps maintain the flow of oxygenated blood to the heart and brain. Maintaining the flow of oxygenated blood can improve shock success and minimize long-term damage to the heart and brain. The CPR sensor built into the CPR-D pads allows the AED Plus to see when you are doing CPR, as well as measure the quality of the compressions being performed in accordance with the most current guidelines.
Push
The
harder.
AED Plus provides periodic text and voice
Push
prompts
harder.
to remind you to push harder if compressions are too shallow. The compression depth indicator provides real-time visual feedback on the depth of compressions being performed. Keeping the indicator between the markers helps ensure optimum compression depth based on the most current guidelines. When CPR compressions are performed at guideline-compliant depth, the AED Plus gives the rescuer a reassuring, good compressions. The AED Plus also uses an adaptive metronome that speeds up or slows down to help guide rescuers to a guideline-compliant CPR rate. CPR depth and rate are two very important components of high-quality CPR. CPR is strenuous, and it's not uncommon for rescuers to tire and perform compressions that are too shallow. If they do, the AED Plus will again
Push
remind
harder.
them to push harder. Providing high-quality CPR to a cardiac arrest victim can result in a shockable rhythm on the next analysis.
Don't touch patient. Analyzing. Shock advised.
Make certain nobody is touching the patient before pressing the shock button.
Press flashing shock button. Shock delivered.
Begin
Start
CPR
CPR.
immediately after the shock is delivered. Even after a shock has been given, a struggling heart needs high-quality CPR to help it
Start
recover to a
CPR.
normal rhythm. Continue doing CPR until the patient regains consciousness or emergency services arrive to take over the rescue. Rescuers can tire when performing CPR. Guidelines recommend that when possible, rescuers take turns performing CPR to help maintain CPR quality. CPR-D pads should be used on victims over 8 years of age or 55 pounds. CPR-D pads can accommodate larger victims by separating the side pad at the slit as shown. For children under 8 years of age and under 55 pounds, pediatric pads should be used. For children, pads should be placed on the center of the chest and center of the back as shown. Using pediatric pads on an adult is not recommended. For additional information on proper use and maintenance of the AED Plus, consult the AED Plus Administrator's Guide provided with your AED or online at www.zoll.com.
So in conclusion, again, I just remind you that I want you to use your instincts. If you feel like this is a situation where somebody needs extra help, don't hesitate to ask for help. We want to get help coming to them as fast as we can. And when you respond, if somebody is down and you saw them collapse or you feel like this might be an example of cardiac arrest, don't hesitate to call that code, do compression-only CPR, and get that AED as fast as you can. And know that we have additional crew and additional help coming your way, but it's vital that we have those first few minutes of CPR. We have to have that done and we have to have it identified quickly. So regardless of your positions here, just know that that is the expectation, that we are asking that you be our eyes and ears, and we want to make sure that everybody has the best day possible. And by watching and being a guide for our community as well as other staff members, we're here to help them for that. So thank you.